Good morning to you. Happy Friday. Look, you're right in the middle of me working on the office and purging like crazy. It's a good thing. It's a good thing for us to get rid of things we don't need. Madeline, what has that got to do with what you're going to talk about today? This is what it is. A lot of people say to me, you're very confident. How do I get confident? I want to give you a few tips on how to be confident. This is part of it. I promised myself that I was going to continue to remove things from my life that I don't really need, that are not benefiting me, that are not benefiting anybody else. There's nothing there. You don't need 60,000 pictures when you have memories in your mind. You don't need things to hold on to the real estate that they're taking up. You buy something for $50. Well, by the end of 8 years, that $50 is taking up $3,500 worth of real estate. So we don't need it. Confident. I have 3 tips for you. When we're confident, we can do so much more. We come across better. We do better. We feel better. That has to do with our health. When we feel better, we have a better immune system. When we feel better, people around us can tell and they enjoy that. When we feel better, we get more things done. So let me segue that right into the first tip for confidence. The very first tip for confidence is, do you trust yourself? Do you trust yourself? Here's an example. I might say, okay, tomorrow I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And way deep down inside, we know, I may not do that. Or you get to tomorrow and you make an excuse and you don't do it. What does that do? That chips away at your self-esteem. That chips away at your confidence. Of course, you don't feel confident then because, I won't get that done. No, I know I probably won't be able to do that. Or you kid yourself and you say, yes, I want to do that. And you keep saying it and you keep not doing it. Simple, right? Very, very foundational. This was a huge aha moment for me. And I can remember even when I was a child, my dad said, you don't have any confidence. You don't trust yourself. I didn't know what he was talking about. Because, he never explained. I'm not blaming him. I'm simply saying I was left with that. But that's the lesson that I had to learn. That's why you see what you see behind here. I am digging in, taking things out, keeping that promise to myself because my confidence is my superpower. And I want that for you. So how about this? If you know your weaknesses and you know your strengths, promise yourself to do the things that you're strong at. This is number 2. Promise yourself that you're going to do the things in your personal life, in your business, in your relationships with your family. Do the things that you know you can do well. Quietly, you can learn to do something else. If it's a skill set that you need, you can certainly learn how to do it, right? And do it quietly on your own and bring it into your life slowly. Maybe it'll take you a week to learn something. Maybe you want to learn how to use a certain software. Maybe that'll help you keep the house bills in order. Anything at all. Learn your weaknesses and your strengths. One of the important things about knowing our weaknesses is, and I've done this, believe me, I said, well, yeah, I'll do that. And then I sat in front of the computer for hours in frustration, trying to do something that was not a superpower for me. Not a superpower. And it was not something that I wanted to learn. So I thought about it. Is this something that you need for your business? Well, yes, it is. Which brings me to tip number 3. And we're going to go over all of these again. Tip number 3 is delegate. So going back to if you can't or don't want, it really is don't want, because if you want to learn something, you can. But for me, I know that there are things that I have tried to do, and maybe I can do them, but they are tedious. They do not make me happy. Now, I'm not saying everything we do needs to make us happy. It is taking away from my money building time. It's taking away from my ROI. I am worth so much more per hour that I can bless someone who needs this basic task. And they'll be very happy to do it. It's a mindset. It's a mindset. This is why I talk to people about, and be careful what you wish for, because when we're not ready for it, for example, we're on tip 3, which is delegate. It took a while for me because I had that installation in me where, God, I have to give this now to someone, and that makes me the boss. So then I had to deal with, well, what does the boss mean to you? Well, we've all had good bosses. We've all had not so good bosses. I want to be the good one. And besides, boss is simply a word that explains what it's all about. But it was a change. Delegating is also a change. So, under confidence, these 3 tips are very important. Let's go back to number 1. How do you trust yourself? So I'm going to use myself as an example because I love experience. I had to learn to trust myself that I would be able to give direction to someone else without making them a friend at first. Sounds like nothing, right? It's very, very important. Making friends with people too quickly means that your boundaries are down. You are not going to have confidence because you're not going to be able to trust because you don't know where you stand, okay? Trust yourself. Know that when you say, like, for example, all of this, I'm getting rid of things, donating. I'm donating. I'm not just tossing them in the trash unless that's where they belong. I trust myself to do it. I've given myself a timeline. I started a long time ago because there was a lot to do. I did it in the moments when I had that energy for that. I didn't worry about what anybody thought. I didn't compare myself. I just did it. I knew it was something I had to do. I trusted myself. It's just a matter of trusting yourself. Trust in you. If you know that you might say, I'll do this, and then you don't, you're not trusting yourself. So it's better not to promise yourself and then not do it. It's actually worse, I think, to promise that you're going to do something to yourself as opposed to promising someone else and not doing. So my mantra is promise less, do more, deliver more, over deliver. But promise the least, because life gets in the way. For example, what you see behind me is me getting rid of things after 3 floods that we had in here. So that meant that furniture got ruined and things had to be thrown out, and money was lost and things happened, and I had to search and seek and look at what was important. In the end, it was a good thing. So trust yourself. Okay, that's number one. When you can trust yourself, your confidence and your self-esteem will blow up off the charts, Diva. It's going to be amazing. And don't expect it overnight. Give yourself a day at a time. Each day, promise you're going to do one little thing and get that one little thing done. And then as you grow and you get strong with that, you can add something else. Now, if in one day you're able to do 20 things that are right in front of you, fine. But remember, prioritize. So I'm not going to go into that now. We talked about that before. But prioritizing means taking those 20 things, bring it into 5, bring it into 3, and then do the first thing that's most important. So we're not going into that, but do what you can so that you gain more self-esteem with yourself. The foundation of who we are is getting to the root cause of what's causing the feelings that are not making us feel happy and joyful. And no, you're not going to be happy every single day, every single moment. But for the most part, let's look at 90% of our lifetime. We really want to be happy. It's like the 80-20 rule. Of course, I said 90 because I want more happy. And my 2021 word is fun. So if you're having fun, you're going to feel good. So like I've made this fun. I'll put music on. I'll finish it all up. Get to put some new artwork up on the walls. Great. Trust myself. I do it. And then once you've done it, celebrate. Throw your arms up, dance, sing, do whatever. Do it right in your house. Makes no difference. So that's number one. You've got to trust yourself. If you do not trust yourself, why would other people trust you? If you don't trust yourself, people won't buy from you if you're in a business. If you don't trust yourself, how are you going to heal? When you trust yourself, your body, your cells, everything about you knows that something's in alignment. Therefore, healing is better. So trusting ourselves is huge. It's a big thing. This is all under confidence now. So number 2, keep the promises to yourself and know your strengths. Now, I know that there are certain things that I do very well. And I will do them first because it's easier for me. Now, I'm not saying that life is always to be easy, but the easiest that we can make it, the more fun we're going to have. The more fun we're going to have, the more we're going to do what? Number 1, trust ourselves, which is what? Underconfidence, which means what? Better self-esteem, which means better immune system, better work, better relationships, more money. Everything falls under that umbrella. When you know your weaknesses, embrace them. For example, I'm not a spreadsheet gal. I've tried so many times and I'm like, it's like a big blur for me. I just don't want to do it. I have tried so many times. It's just not for me. You may be a whiz at it. Go for it. There are different ways to do different things, and there are solutions, which is where we lean in to absolutely everything that's going on in our life. So a very good friend of mine and mentor said, trust the process. So when you're doing these things underneath confidence, these 3 tips, trust the process. So if you're trusting the process, it's going to be easier for you, number 1, to trust yourself. And number 2 that we're on is to promise yourself that you're going to lean into your strengths. But I also want you to now, number 3, delegate. Delegate the things that are holding you back. Here's an example, if I may share this with you. I literally sat in front of my computer for hours trying to get something done. And it was just a matter of learning a few different things. And I thought, I really don't like this. Now, I will be honest with you. I have opened up myself to many, many, many new things. I've learned softwares, I've learned Photoshop and Illustrator, and I've been in 3 different industries that I've been successful at. And I adapt and change, and I've got certificates and degrees. So it means that I do learn. But I've gotten to the point where I get it. If you truly do not like something so much, this is after trying for a while. I'm certainly not saying give up right away. And I'm not saying give up. What I'm saying is understand that if you have a weakness, here's an example. My weakness is numbers. So if you told me to measure something to put it on the wall, it would be like a stretch. However, I have spatial balance. And I think I've only been like maybe quasi centimeter off. I'll tell you exactly where to put something and it'll be right. Because you see, God gives us everything. We just have to know where it is, and we have to look for it, and we have to allow ourselves to let those weaknesses out. Because once you are aware of the weakness, you're going to be more confident in that you've got something that is the anti of that weakness, which is a superpower. That's one of my superpowers. I can put things on the wall and they're pretty much going to line up with someone who does all the numbers on the yardstick. I want that for you. I want you to be able to do that. It's very, very important. Don't care about what people say. Don't care about comparing yourself. Keep the competition away. Just do what you're really, really, really good at, okay? And then that brings us again to point 3, delegate. All right, but Madeline, I don't have the money. That was my story. So there are lots and lots of people who you can delegate to. And for those of you who are interested in having someone to delegate to, I know some very good people. If you want to reach out to me, you can do that. However, the point here is if you are using time to be in your business as opposed to on it, then you're not going to make any money. The same thing if you're healing, if you're worrying about the wrong things, you're not putting your energy into healing. It's the same thing with your business. So here's another story, if I may. One day I realized I was doing all the admin work. Hey, trust me, there is nothing wrong with doing admin work, and I respect everyone for everything that they do. Hair on my face. Delegate. Because whatever you're worth per hour for what it is that you love to do, your superpower, what you offer the world, costs so much more than the bit that you're going to pay the person you're going to delegate to. It is an absolute truth. And I will admit that it isn't something that I got right away. I did not get this right away. I wish I would have. However, I also believe that things happen when they're meant to. So if you want to be confident, number 1, confident, trust yourself. Take care. Do what you say you're going to do for you. Do what you're going to do for you. Keep a promise to yourself that you will use all your strengths. And then also Be willing to delegate. Now, I'd like to add a little something here for you, because those who don't want to delegate can, I'm not saying you are, but you can feel as though, you're out of control. You want to have the control. You want to be able to do it all. You're a perfectionist. No one can do it like I can do it. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that. And what I want to tell you is this, especially in today's world, if you've got someone writing for you, you've got someone doing an ad for you, you've got someone doing things for you in your email, that typo, that crooked line, whatever it is. Yes, we want it to be as good as possible. However, it's really all about the meat and potatoes. If you're a vegetarian, maybe it's tofu and whatever. It's about the message. So delegating will remove all of that heaviness that's dragging on your confidence. Drags on your confidence because you are stuck in admin. Now I want to bring something else up for you. If you like doing the admin, then that's a superpower, and maybe you would like to work for someone else, with someone else, team up with someone. Let's face it, people who work together don't always have the same superpowers, and that's why they work together. So look at everything about you. You have so much. You have the good, the super good, and the things that do not suit you. We are all meant to recognize those things. We are meant to recognize those things. Be true to yourself. When you're true to yourself, people will feel that. When you're true to yourself, whatever you have to offer will be accepted. When you're true to yourself, your confidence is going to fly like sparks. And you're going to feel really good. So one more time. Number 1, trust yourself. Number 2, keep a promise to yourself to really nurture your strengths and be aware of your weaknesses. And number 3, don't be afraid to delegate. Delegate. I have some great people. This is not an ad. I get nothing for it, but they are amazing at a great price. Give yourself the ability to do what it is that you love in your business. Give yourself the ability to be you. So once again, I want to thank Barbara. Thank you so much, Barbara. I think we're coming to where my time may be up here. And if not, what I want to do is wish you all a beautiful, excuse me, a beautiful day and a nice weekend. And take out a piece of paper, write down what's good for you, write down what you feel confident in. Write down where you might need a little bit of help. For those of you who know, you can reach out to me for a 15-minute call. Simple. Just go to Facebook and DM me, Madeline Fiella. Boom, I heard you on Barbara's show. Boom, can I have 15 minutes? I'll send you my Calendly. And if you want to go ahead and do that right now, it's calendly.com/Maddie, MADDYF, the letter F. And Calendly is CALENDLY. So calendly.com/Maddie F, MADDYF. And go ahead and book an open slot. And we can talk for 15 minutes. Let's see where you're at. Let's see what we can do for you. Let's see where you're headed. Take your strengths, Do something good with them. Weaknesses are fine. It helps you get to solutions. So, Barbara, if you're there, I'm going to turn this over to you.
I'm hanging on your every word, the love inside, I feel it burn. I've never felt this way before. I've had a taste, now I want more. So here we are, just you and me. I'm overwhelmed when you touch me. You talk so sweet, I hear the sound, 'cause when you do, my feet won't touch the ground. My feet won't touch the ground.
I am on mute every day. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. I said I was going to work on doing that for the new year, and guess what? I'm bringing it on to the new year, but that's okay. That's okay because that just gives me another thing to work on to get better. And as we say, that's what we do. We grow and we get better every single day. So that's one of my little, well, that's just one of a list of things that I'm working on getting better with. I think we all have that little list next to us. And that's okay because that, I always tell people if I'm not growing every day, learning every day, be getting awareness every day, then something is wrong and it's a boring life for me. Because I want to make sure that, I get that. Because not only when you grow and not only when you obtain different skills, that helps you not just for yourself, but you know what I always say, reach out and it helps others. So when you have that extra information that you get, don't keep it inside. Don't keep it. It's like, okay, now I know this and I'm all this. No, make sure that you're sharing. Make sure that you're sharing with others so we can all grow and we can all understand and it lifts us up. It leverages us. Okay, so I just want to make sure of that because a lot of times I hear a lot of people say, "Well, I got this, and you got to get yours." And I'm like, "Well, come on now, really, really, let's work together here. Let's just work together." And I really want to do. I want to thank everybody for doing the background of a show. I'm finding out another learning tip that, you have to be the production person. You have to be, invite the guests. You have to make sure sound. You have to, all this stuff has to be done. And then, you got the sponsors that you work with, the wonderful sponsors that are sponsoring you to make sure that you're putting them and giving them exposure, which I'm loving all of it. But it takes some time to do that and it takes work. And I just want to thank everybody who is supporting the Diamond Factor Experience show with Barbara Beckley. And I say, and guests and experts, because if it wasn't for the guests that comes on, if it wasn't for the expert that comes on weekly, this wouldn't be a show, just be me. And I know after a while, you might like me for a while, but I know you don't want to hear my mouth all the time. You want to hear some other people with some other expertise and geniuses. So I just want to just put a big shout out, a huge shout out to all the supporters out there, everybody that watches through either the YouTube channel, E360 TV, Facebook, everything. And hopefully one of these days, this is Clubhouse, that's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother thing that a lot of people are really getting a lot of good connections for. And I am going to be there. I'm like, I'm going to wish like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. I will make it to Clubhouse. I will make it to Clubhouse. And I'm clapping my feet. And the reason why I'm saying that is one thing that I found out, which, you know what, at the beginning, I'm going to be honest. I'm open here. You have to have an iPhone or iPad or something. If people don't know about the Clubhouse, it's a new sensation, I'm telling you, of connections and really getting involved with people. And I'm talking about celebrities are in this Clubhouse too, that I found out. But I don't have an iPhone. And people are like, what? Barbara? I'm like, I don't. I don't have an iPhone. And I can't get on. And I was like, oh no, I'm missing out. That was the first thing that I was thinking. I was freaking out for a minute, to be honest. And then I said to myself, okay, Barbara, there's a reason why things happen. There's a reason, the timing. See, it's all about timing and being in sync for what you have to do. So, see, this is me saying, looking around and like, well, everybody's on Clubhouse, and I'm freaking out. But I'm like, okay, Barbara, maybe the timing for you, for me, is just, for me, is a little bit different. So eventually it's going to happen. And I know it's going to happen. And when it does happen, it's going to happen at the right time, the right moment. And I want to meet so many wonderful, awesome people within that group. So just giving you a lesson learned. I always tell people, learn from Barbara. Calm down, do the usha, and say to yourself that, this is just your timing, just like your stories in your life. I always tell people there's a reason why certain stories in your life happens is because of the timing that has to happen for you to level up or learn something or get something or something that you have to do first before you get to the next level. See, sometimes things are put to the side for a minute because there's something that you should be doing that you need to complete, or maybe you need to be helping somebody else or helping a business or whatever the case may be before you start saying, okay, I want to jump on this other thing. And I get that because believe me, there's a lot of things that we're all working different projects. And you say to yourself, now, can I add another project to it right now? Maybe that's not the timing right now. So I just want people to know that the timing of what you do, and I use Clubhouse in this example, but this is in any area of your life. So I just want to make sure that just just like I said, do the usha and say to yourself, okay, there's timing for everything. And eventually it's going to happen, either it is or not. But always remember that it's for your way to propel in whatever you're doing, whatever you're trying to do in your life. Not so much about looking at everybody else, because you got to focus. So you got to keep that focus going. So with that, one thing I want to put on before I bring our awesome guest, because we do have a special guest, and I'm getting like a little kid, the candy stuff. I love this lady. She is just so awesome to me. I met her. I feel like we've known each other for years, but I think we just met last year. I mean, early last year. And it seemed like she is just becoming, well, she has become a true friend. And I even call her a sister in my life. And I just want you to really get to know her. I want you to really listen. Well, a lot of people know already. Before I go into the whole introduction, I want to just say to her Thank you for coming on. I don't want to say her name just yet because I'm still keeping it undercover because I got a little surprise before we bring her on. But besides that, I want to also just reflect that. Remember, I mentioned, if you've seen my show on Monday, that there's one, I'm sponsoring a charity that I have adopted for myself under the Diamond Factor experience called Help Heal Humanity, excuse me. And I'm really loving this organization. I met the CEO of the company and we have just gelled and we're just so excited. She's just like me, like a spitball, but she's just even better. She's out there doing things in Haiti and building schools and giving, homeless shelter. I mean, this woman is just amazing to me. I said, you are just like the superwoman, Wonder Woman of the world right now. Because when you can sit there and take your life and say, I'm going to put my life to the side for almost forever and help people over and over again every day. I mean, she's at night going to neighborhoods that are like infested, like in gangs and stuff, and she's making sure that they're getting food. And I mean, usually you just tell people, say, I'll give some money and let somebody else do it. No, she's doing it. So I want to show a clip real quickly before we bring on our awesome guests. And just to let you know about the organization a little bit more. And I will be putting on more video. Her name is Serena, the next few weeks. So you will be having some talks with her, and she can give you some insight of what she's doing and keep us abreast of all the projects that she has going on, for this organization. So I'm going to show a clip real quick, and then we'll get right into our special guest here. Give me a moment.
Haiti borders with the Dominican.
Her name is Serena Buffalino. They call her Mrs. B, and her class always begins with a pledge.
Something local, something global. Haiti.
They're words that carry weight here. Helping yourself means helping others, giving back, here and a world away in Haiti.
And nobody's helping them, except for people like us.
It was through her the class learned of Haiti, of the nearly 1 million orphans, many with no school, no support, no Mrs. B in their lives.
They could not wrap their head around that.
Mrs. B's students are among Toronto's most at risk. Their challenges vary from emotional and behavioral difficulties to learning disabilities. Their trauma is so severe they can't function in a regular school setting, and we aren't allowed to show most of their classmates.
For most of the kids, most of society has turned them away. And in this classroom, they're accepted. They're accepted no matter what for who they are.
Take Yolanda. She came here last year so burdened and withdrawn, she would often fall silent, sometimes for days on end. It was, she says, Mrs. B's patience, her quiet encouragement, that saved her.
She actually saves people's lives from dangers.
And perhaps that's why these marginalized kids feel such a kinship with the orphans of Haiti and why they were moved to act.
And so when Yolanda and Jackie and Patrick said, well, Miss B, we need to build them a school.
Build a school. No easy task. They started out raising money. They sold samosas, washed cars, screened movies, you name it. And in just a few months, this little class raised $20,000. So much, it's not just a one-room schoolhouse they can build, but a full 3-story school. And so Mrs. B set off on a journey she'd dreamed of, up into the dusty mountains above Port-au-Prince to a town called Canaan. It's home to thousands of earthquake refugees who live with no running water, no electricity, and no school, until now. The first step was a temporary school. It's up and running. 53 students already in uniform. The permanent school for 250 is growing from its foundations.
It makes me want to cry because she just makes me feel so awed, and I'm very proud of her.
All of this because of a handful of students back in Canada and Mrs. B, the teacher who believed in them.
These are for you.
At another fundraiser, a special tribute to the students, accepted by someone who, without Mrs. B, might not be here.
They believe in me and I believe in them, and together we not only change our lives, but we change the world around us.
For inspiring great things and seeing the potential in everyone, Serena Buffalino is this week's Everyday Hero.
This is the reason why I do what I do, is because of Yolanda and all the
Yes. So Miss Serena, I'm telling you, you're gonna meet more of her and see more of her on the show. And I'm gonna start putting a little tickler below so you can know where the website is, get more information. But yeah, she's like a breath of fresh air, and she shows so much humility and so much giving. So with that, I'm just gonna slip on into our guest because there's another super lady. Miss America Supermom is coming in, and I have to do her justice. So let me do a little thing here before we bring this wonderful lady in. Now, okay, just to let you know, she's America Supermom, and there's a reason for that. Okay, she is. Before we get to that part, because a lot of people they hear that and they don't see. One thing I want to make everybody aware is she's America's Supermom because she has 15 children, which is just awesome of its own. So people hear that and they're like, and then they stop. I don't want you to stop with this. She's an international speaker, okay? She's an author, okay? She's a mental awareness advocate, okay? She's a coach, okay? She's a connector, okay? So just don't stop at because she has 15 children. She has multiple titles. So give her some credit with that too. And with that, like I said, I got to do her right. She will be coming right on right after this.
Oh, thank you so much. That was just exciting. You had me at the Cape, girl. I'm excited.
What you said, lady? I had you the cape. Just going.
Yes, I need one of those at home, girl, because my kids are like, okay, you just mommy. Okay.
Well, in our eyes, you are more than Miss Mommy. And
Oh,
you are so much more than just mommy. So, and that's why I had to say that earlier. I said, you know what? Because I know you get it. Where as soon as you say, I'm an American Supermom because I have 15 kids, and everybody's just like, there's that reaction. Either they're gonna be like, "What?" or mouth drop and all that. And I'm like, do they understand? That's only a portion of all her other geniuses that she has. I mean, you just got,
oh,
So yeah, they gotta know the whole thing. That's what I tell people. You're gonna know somebody, know everything about
hmm
them.
so true.
So thank you for coming on. I know you were on a few times where you had to fill some gaps for me. And that's what I tell people. I say, I can reach out to you and then you're just like, okay, let me see what's going on. Let me see, check my schedule. And you say, okay, I can do it. And a lot of people, they'll be like, well, Barbara, you just out there. Like they said, sucks to be you. And then you got to move on and do what you have to do. But for you, you always take that extra step, that extra time to help others. So thank you. I just want to thank you from me to you for doing
You're
that for
so
me.
welcome.
For doing
And
that
thank
for
you
me.
for giving me the opportunity. I think every platform, I don't care if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, that's one of the things that I think about all the time is you never know who is listening to that message. It's the little things that God can do great things with. So it's so funny you were talking about Clubhouse because I started a room. So it's a 21-day journey. So today is day 5, but I have a co-moderator and it happened at the same time. So like right now, I have this little earpiece here. They're having the room and talking about rejection, but God just said, hey, you know what? It's about you spreading the message and you can't be all I got this going on, give me time to be God, so I said, okay, so I am here while they're holding it down and then I go back after I get done with the interview. So I'm excited to recognize one that I'm not an island. God uses
Mhm.
all of us to share his message and You got to let go of that ego sometimes, when you're doing his work. Okay.
Yes, and you just that's a prime example of, like you said, collaborating again and delegating, to make sure that you can, like you said, you can kind of be at more than one place at one time, right? But that's awesome that people will say, okay, I got this for you. I got this, American Supermodel. I've got this part. You go over there, and I know you'll come back. So can't find too many people with that's gonna, take on the reins either. So
Well, and I think that's another thing is that we all have a message. Everybody's message is a little different, but it's still important. And sometimes we can get into that whole mindset like, oh, this is my thing that God called me to do. But, all of us are important. So if we remember that, we all have something to contribute. And that's just a testament of what God has in store because nothing I feel is by accident.
no,
So,
nothing.
mhm.
So now I really want, because I want this to be about you too. I know, I did the whole video and stuff, but I want you to, tell the listeners just like a little bit about you and what like your main thing. Cause I know one of the things that you always state to me is, Barbara, I am, a mental health advocate. And I really want people to really understand that. So I know that's your heart. So just give the listeners what you want them to know about, what you do. Well, everything else you do.
Absolutely. So, and it's a great question because look, I sometimes don't know what I do. Okay. Jokingly, I'm playing. But because if somebody asks me to do something, I'm there, just like what you've mentioned. And just here recently, I now have the responsibility of being a manager for my daughter who is pursuing her music career. So, don't know anything about that. This is Hope. She is not a stranger to video. But so I'm always willing to do what I can to help others. So the mental wellness piece for me is really heartfelt because I struggled with depression for 13 years and I was hospitalized 3 times. So I just have this memory of I remember the time passing. I remember all my kids and certain accomplishments, but I don't remember being a whole person. It was like being on autopilot and just going through the motions for a lot of things, checking the boxes on the checklist of things to do, but not really enjoying life. And so that really was the basis of a lot of that depression. And now looking back after 3 experiences of hospitalization, I said, Lord, I must have just really been a hard-headed child. Okay. It took me 3 times to learn. But after that last experience, I learned that the fortunate thing is that I'm not on any medication. I was on medication only during each hospitalization. And so many people today struggle with depression. Some of them are on medication, and some of them it's just a daily struggle. And I believe that oftentimes a lot of these situations might have been avoided had they had the right tools in their toolbox to be able to handle um, not being confident and seeking out how they can get confidence or not having boundaries and having been given themselves the empowerment to establish their own boundaries that serve them. So some of life's challenges, we all are plagued with, but not all of us have the same tools in our toolbox that can help us overcome them. So with that being said, I'm just very passionate about sharing the message of mental wellness on any platform that I have. So, just here recently, I just said, well, you know what? I'm just all things media. Okay. Any platform. I don't care if it's a book, a podcast, TV. I'm now in TV too. I have a live stream show that's going to be coming out in March. And all things media about mental wellness. That's pretty much how I would sum it up. And anything that I could do to shed light on the topic, I feel like I get a lot of attention, just as you mentioned, with having a large family, and it really gets people's attention.
Yeah.
So now I am passionate about using that attention in a way that helps spread the message of depression being an okay topic to discuss, and there are ways that we can overcome it, and there are, hacks that we can do, and there are ways that we can ask for help, and all these different things to help educate people for that mission.
Yeah. And I'm so glad that you're such a wonderful advocate for that, because I know we talked before that sometimes, because I even telling you one day we having a conversation. I said, you know what, Michelle, I was going through some things here and there. And I said, maybe I was going through some mental anguish because of a lot of things that, happen. And sometimes you could suppress some things that happen in your life for so long. And then all of a sudden, boom, and you're like, okay, now what is this? Am I, what's going on here? Why all of a sudden I'm crying all of a sudden for 2 or 3 hours, or, why I feel like I'm just so tired, and I just can't just get up from the couch because I just feel, so I feel those are little signs. And then I had to look at myself and say, okay, is something going wrong here? Is it more than just me saying I'm tired? Is it more than, why am I crying like this? So I'm so glad that, sometimes people even realize. And you, like you said, you didn't realize for a minute until it really got to you, like, wait a minute, that's not who I am anymore. And you were doing the daily stuff. See, that's the thing. You
Right.
were doing the daily things. So it
Yeah.
could sneak up on you if you don't even know. Yeah.
So true. And, for me, I think a lot of it looking back, I just would never have categorized myself as depressed, because for me, depression was like being in the bed, not
Yeah.
doing anything,
Mhm.
So I'm
Yeah.
like, that can't be me. I am taking my kids to soccer, I'm making meals 3 times a day, I'm doing laundry and all these different things that are productive, counting, checking it off my list, but just not fulfilled. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Hmm.
so I'm so glad that, like I said, you're talking to people and you're using your platforms. Like you said, you have your podcast, and then you have in your TV stream show that I'm so proud and glad for you in March. And then you have your book. Now share this a little bit before I don't want to forget that. I know you have a copy there. There we go. There we
Always
go.
got to be
Boom.
ready. Okay. But this book really is just, it just reminds me that it's important to collaborate, and that you can do whatever you put your mind to, you know, um, but expand your territory, your mindset about it, So the book is Inspirational Women of the World. It's a group collaborative book. It's 20 of us that wrote in the book. We each have a chapter. And for me, it's global because I'm the only one from the United States. But in addition to that, it just reminds me that if you're willing to let your ego go,
Mm, mm,
that you can accomplish so much more. So if I was so concerned about this being my book, America's Supermom, it would still be in this computer. Okay. So the fact that I can contribute a chapter and all of us can come together, now I have a book that I can, do coaching programs with. I
yes.
can, have webinars on. I mean, it's even more that I'm able to do because I have a product. It's done. It's not in my computer where I'm trying to get all the credit. So it reminds me that, I'm not an island.
Mm,
Just connect and collaborate with people, and the message will spread even further. So that's my reminder. And I'm just really excited because it was something that I have to remember during a global pandemic. So
yes.
while a lot of people were, had unfortunate stories about losing loved ones and, losing their life, so to speak, because of the industry that they had, it got changed and they no longer had that identity with them, just a number of things that changed for a lot of people. But this is something that I feel was positive, that, is a memory for me that, I was able to rise above a lot of the negativity and do something that was long lasting and mattered to me. And it definitely was an example for my children. So some of them may not appreciate it now, but hopefully as they get older and later on they'll appreciate, wow, it was the pandemic and, my mom thought to write a book. So that's one of the things that's kind of near and dear to me.
And awesome, before we go, because I know timing for you, that I just want to commend you again for doing that. And like you said, in the midst of the chaos, the pandemic and everything else, I always tell people all that. See, you're just a proven example. What I always say, Lachelle, where everything going on, whatever around, that you still took your PPD, as I call it, your purpose, passion, and drive of what you do, and you found and looked at new opportunities. And you have opened so many. I mean, like you said, with your book, and I know you have other groups that you have in that coming together, collaborating, networking. So you just said, you know what? I'm not gonna look. Okay, pandemic, you're here, but guess what? Lachelle gonna keep on rolling and doing some new things that's coming out. I mean, you got your TV streaming show coming out. So see, there's no excuses, people. I'm just gonna put it out there. I just gotta say,
Well,
okay, what
you know,
like they said, what's your excuse?
so true. And I think that it's a testament to being around the right people.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
I have an advisory team, and I'm fortunate to have you on that team. And I think that's important to have a good foundation. One of the things that I aspire to do is to have a platform that grows so that I can reach more people with the message. But with that growth, there comes times where, you have to stay in check. Just like I said, you invited me here, and then I have a clubhouse thing, and, you can get in your own ego in and out quickly. So it's so important to stay grounded and recognize that, the message is what's important, and that's beyond you. I mean, God could close that argument at any time. Okay. Me thinking that it's got to be me in every situation. So I work hard to stay mindful of that. But that foundation comes from having an advisory team. And I am blessed and honored to have you on that. And, I look forward to moving forward and doing even greater things, in years to come. But, you have to have a strong foundation to do that. The Bible says in the multitude of counsel, there is safety. So, you're going to have opportunities that come, but you need to have the clarity to know, which one you're supposed to be following, because you can get into your own way real quick.
Yes. And my example, as you know, because I was struggling with this, was the clubhouse thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was
So I
like,
got some Clubhouse Chronicles for you, girl. I'm starting a podcast with the Clubhouse Chronicles.
well, you can use me as an example of what not to
Turning
do.
them clubs into lemonade, okay?
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Supermom, because I was freaking out for a minute. I really was. I was like, oh, I'm missing out. I think I did a whole little thing, a post with you said, Lachelle, I can't get in. I know iPhone. What I'm missing out. So
Yes,
you calm me
it's been
down.
the topic of a couple of our conversations. Yeah.
But you
I
calm
had
me.
to calm you down. Look, I had to give you a little massage.
Yeah. If everybody knows, that's our thing to calm each other down. We say, okay, let's give a little massage there. It's gonna be okay. So thank you for the massage. Thank you for the focus again. Thank you for all that.
Absolutely.
So, lady, please let everybody know how to contact you and work with you, because people definitely need to do that. So please give them that.
Thank you so much. So yeah, the best way to get a hold of me, is you're on all these different platforms. So I need to get some little, mailboxes on each of them, right? On the Roku, wherever you're at. But I will soon, because I'll be on live stream also. But the best way is Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. I'm just under Lachelle Atkins or America's Supermom. So it's really easy. And that's the best way to get a hold of me. It's so funny. We had some different experiences last year with different people. And we had a situation, Barbara and I, with the individual, and they just kept calling my phone, and was really upset because I didn't answer. And I have a calendar. And if you're not on the calendar and my phone is ringing, I'm not answering. Okay. Because my number is listed with everything that I do. And, you really need to make sure you're strategic with your time. You can answer the phone and it could be somebody else's emergency, but it's not your emergency. You might be in the middle of whatever. So I want to let everybody know the best way to get a hold of me is through any messenger format of Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. And I'll be sure to respond to you within 24 hours.
Thank you, lady. I'm so glad you mentioned that about the time because you got to respect the other people that you're doing the work for too. So that's why you can't just say, "Okay, let me get this call," and you're in the midst of something. So yes, boundaries are important.
So true. So
Boundaries
true.
are important. Well, lady, thank you so much. America's Supermom. So glad that you came on today. And like I said, this is not the last. I keep telling people, I'm gonna bring these super people on because you need to get to know them and they can, help you in your life as well. So thank you, Lachelle. I appreciate you so
Aw.
much, lady. Appreciate you so much.
Thank you so much. And yeah, I
Yeah.
was listening to you before I came on, and yeah, it seems like we've known each other forever. And I just want to say it was a godsend for us to connect. Just a quick story. It was funny because we connected through the group, and I had made a post, and groups have rules, and I did something that was not within the constraints of the rules. And so, I just responded in a very nice way. And it was that conversation that led to me being a guest on the show and later on Woman of the Month and a platform to start master classes. And I have done nothing but been able to catapult my business so much further because of that. So I challenge people, don't just get all upset when people tell you about their rules and boundaries. Come together, have a conversation. And I mean, I just am so grateful, that I just didn't get into ego then. And now
Yeah.
look at us today. So
Yeah.
thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Every time you bring up that story, I love that story because it always shows me that, like you just said, Lachelle, you in your mind, you want to go one direction and then something stops you and say, well, wait a minute. And if we didn't get that stopping point right there, like you said, we probably wouldn't be doing or talking right now, maybe because of just that one pivot, that one change that you did, and that one change that I did, to make sure that we became, we collaborate together. So yeah, you always I tell people don't miss out because of what you're thinking. You can miss out on
Amen.
a lot. So
Amen.
yeah. Okay, lady. Well, we
Awesome.
will talk later. I know you got to get back to Clubhouse. Tell them I said hello. I'll be there.
Okay, look, we're gonna have a group call sometime. I'll put it on speaker so we can all talk.
Okay. Love you, lady.
All
Appreciate you.
right,
You take
love you
care.
too. Have a good weekend.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
I had to throw the Clubhouse thing as a joke. But no, she's I'm telling you, she has helped. We have helped each other. She has really helped me to look at different things, a little bit in a marketing kind of sense, and just to, remember to, like she said, get out that ego. I mean, that's the biggest thing in boundaries and stuff. So, you get a little from certain individuals and you put all that together and you just become your best. And that's why I'm always pushing and striving to tell people you have your PPD in you. I'm going to end it in this: your purpose, passion, and drive that you have in you, that stirs in you, that you know who you are and you believe in who you are. And then from that, take your geniuses, your gifts, your talents, everything comes out of that. Okay. And then that catapult everything, that pushes everything away, that's around you. And I know things get to us. I know this pandemic's getting to us. I know that, the economy and everything. I get it. I'm right in the nest of it with you, with everybody. But I had to keep remembering this because it's not just going to help me to keep pushing, but it's going to help you to get to other people that need your genius. Everybody out there is looking for your genius and for your gifts to help them grow too. So that's why I want you to know that you are on this earth for a purpose, for reasons, and for others. So remember that when you're doing things and when you're thinking to yourself, well, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. No, maybe you should. Because if you should be doing something that's going to really be positive and move forth and help other people in their life, then that means that somebody's not going to miss out on a miracle or some hope or some connection because you stepped out and did what you need to do in your life. Okay. So just leave you with that for Friday, and we will be back on Monday morning with some good things coming with our experts, with some guests. You never know what's going to come on the Diamond Factory Experience show with Barbara Beckley. So with that, have a wonderful weekend. We're ending January and we're going into February. Wow. So let's get ready and see you on Monday. Bye.